And what's up everyone, welcome to twitch.tv/OpNoobs the official Twitch channel for the website www.opnoobs.com. I'm Fred, I'm gonna be your host tonight for the very special series that we host on OpNoobs. It's the monthly show. It's the show where we show you the top 10 games coming out for the upcoming month, this specific month of June, as things get a little bit hotter. And I'm accompanied by my guest, Ariana, my co-host. I'm sorry, not my guest. Hi Ariana, thanks.
Hey guys.
Thanks for chiming in. Thanks for joining the show. And then we've got a great panel tonight, a list of panelists that's quite impressive. We bring developers around because we figure they would do a better job talking about games than we can. And this show has been proudly hosted from the beginning, co-hosted from the very beginning, I think sometimes August, September last year, by Chris Natsume. Hey Chris, thanks for chiming in.
Hey.
Chris is coming in from Japan. He's the producer of the original Far Cry. He's been actively working as a game designer, producer, and director in the game industry since 1992. He's got credits on almost 50 games, probably more than that now, Chris.
Something like that. I stopped counting.
And currently, Chris is the creative director and co-founder of Boomzap Entertainment, one of the pioneers of the virtual studio environment, 100% home-based and pants optional. My favorite quote. If you catch that.
I'm not going to say whether or not I'm wearing pants right now. I'm just going to keep that on the down low.
I hope not in a similar situation, even though it's 3 a.m. for you, Dave. We've got Dave Milton, the lead developer for the Game Creators. He's got a game in early access called My Word. I encourage you to check it out. You can check it out at thegamecreators.com. Dave is an enormous geek from a young age, and I quote him, fell in love with games after playing The Secret of Monkey Island, a great point-and-click games. If you guys haven't played it, you should. Dave is a big fan of fantasy, action, adventure, RPG games such as Zelda, Demon, Dark Souls, but loves most games. He has been developing since he's a kid, impressive, but doing it as a job for 15 years now with the Game Creators who make game creation products. Claim to fame, he met Mark Zuckerberg at Facebook HQ when his Facebook Game Maker became a winner in their competition. And the second claim to fame, Whitney Houston shouted hello at him once. I like that. I like that you specify.
That's not so impressive.
Yeah, I love that you specify once. He was also on BBC Children in it for a few moments singing Crazy Little Thing Called Love in a sponsored karaoke. I feel like you're shitting us. He was not in... You can... I typically tend to like just swarm through those because they get kind of long and tedious, but I feel like you gotta explain that one.
Well, it was we have a charity event every year. The BBC do it. It's called Children in Need, and my girlfriend at the time lived near Elstree, and you probably have heard of Elstree Studios. A lot of the films sets are done there, and they had a big karaoke thing for Children in Need. So I love singing at karaoke, especially after a few drinks. And Crazy Little Thing Called Love by Queen is kind of my favourite song to sing. It's about the only song I can sing, and it sounds okay. So I got up on the stage, sung it, and it was only later on I realised it was actually it did go out on the telly. It was actually seen. My parents were horrified to see.
I bet. You do close your bio with he was not entirely sober at the time. I'll move forward with Shane Neville. Shane's second time on the show. We did a great dev talk with him just about a year ago, I'd say. Shane is the founder of Ninja Robot Dinosaur. He's a 20-year game industry vet whose credits include hits such as Need for Speed, Company of Heroes, and Shellraiser. Shane went indie in 2010, founding Ninja Robot Dinosaur, working solo with small teams to make games that often feature ninjas, as one might guess, robots and or dinosaurs. Shane's latest title is Bunker Pumps. We're just talking before the show. Shane's about to go get out of early access. It's been a while, Shane. You got cozy in there.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good run. The game's starting to come together. It's actually on sale for 67% off right now as well. So, but yeah, it's really coming together and getting the finishing touches in there.
It doesn't have dinosaurs yet. That's where you left me last time. Do we have dinosaurs now? Because I have not updated your bio.
No, I mounted enemy, but I can't find a good dinosaur enemy to put in the game.
Fair enough. Anton Pustovoit. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Anton, probably not. He's the lead designer for Pixel Night. We just did a great dev talk with him. Thanks, Anton, for doing that. And he's Anton. He's Russian-born, now Sweden-based indie developer working using the Unreal Engine. He does a little bit of everything from scripting and 3D to level and game design. And recently released, together with his team, an adventure game, Empathy: Path of Whispers. We reviewed it and gave it a great score on the site. We loved it, Anton. Congrats! Such an achievement. It's your first game. His passion is crafting enchanting atmospheres, which he does superbly in game worlds. And when he's not in front of his desk, he's usually out on his road bike or out on a hike through the woods. I don't blame you, Anton. I feel like the older I get and the more time I spend in front of the computer screens before the day job and the night job, I'm starting to have this sudden urge to connect with nature. So I bought myself a sailboat. You can see the pillows. You can see the pillows right there. I think
we actually have a sailboat in the family as well. We try to use it a couple of times a year because Stockholm has a great archipelago outside with an amazing nature. So it's worth a trip out there time to time.
Most definitely.
But it's usually more hassle than it's the actual trip.
A lot of problem that comes with it, but I feel like geeks need to spend time away from computers every now and then. It kind of makes the computer life a little bit more enjoyable.
Absolutely.
All right, we're gonna get
this is someone talk to me. I don't understand. Away from the computer.
Exactly.
Like outside, you mean?
There's hope, Dave. There's hope. We're gonna move to the top 10 list. There's a lot to cover. The concept of the show is pretty straightforward. We're gonna show you a series of trailers ranging from least anticipated to most anticipated, at least in our eyes. We look at all the games that come out in June and we try to select the ones that are most impressive, especially toward the beginning of the show when you get to numbers 10, 9, 8, 7. These are the indie picks most of the times. The one that you see, like, especially us at OpNoobs, we see a lot of the same stuff kind of being regurgitated over and over again. And a lot of these games, some of them are, they're all-time classics when it comes to the type of genre that they fit in. But at the same time, they're either doing something really well, at least we think so, or there's something that kind of popped out in the crowd. And the crowd is hefty, We're looking at between 50 and 100 games before we make our top 10. So there's a selection process. I'm going to pass the microphone to Ariana to present the very first game. Ariana, are you all set and ready to go?
Hey. Ready. This is exciting, guys, because we have a really good list. And some of these were top in PAX East, which, Fred, you had a chance to get to, so hopefully you saw some of these games here.
Yes.
So we're starting out first. Are we ready to roll on this?
Yep, we're all set. Trailers on.
All right. We are looking at Torment X Punisher. This game has everything. You can kill everything in this game in one hit, including the bosses and yourself. The bosses change the shape of the arena, as you'll see. They conjure rooms and traps that make it more hellish and brutal. Demons will adjust to your playstyle and punish you accordingly. Explore and discover the new ways of killing your enemies to gain really cool upgrades. Reload your machine gun by firing your shotgun. I mean, it's that huge. Yeah, you heard me right. Kill, destroy, mess up some demons. Let me tell you, you rack up your combos, you get upgrades by performing your unique skills, and you try to survive this constant onslaught. So you can hook up with your friends. There's going to be leaderboards and everything. This is an action, indie, gore, violent. It's got some language in it, guys. But it is definitely fast-paced. You're going to love this. This is developed by E-Studios.
And full disclosure, this is actually what you read on Steam when you get on Steam. So we're not we're not personally overly excited about this game, but at the same time, we like to, at least not as much as he seems to be.
But it was a
I
very
think it's
emotive
really
reading.
crazy. I watched some gameplay of it, and yeah, you could have a lot of fun once you get the hang of this.
So that I'm almost glad we're starting off with this game, because just before we got on the show, we had a conversation about Steam changing its policy to essentially kind of crowd out the small developers and put an entry barrier onto the Steam shop, which would require, and it's not a fact, don't quote us on that, we're kind of casual about it, we haven't done our research, but it seems that Steam might be asking like a small sum, like $1,000 to developers to make sure that whatever game ends up in their shop, even after the process that happens between the developer and the Steam staff, is a somewhat of a bulky, at least a serious effort. To me, that's, it becomes a problem when you see a game like Tormentor X Punisher, because from the looks of it, and I may be completely wrong, this is a very small production. It's a very small production, probably from a guy in his dorm room. The fact that we couldn't even find information about the studio, right? Like, it's developed by his studio, and that's all we know. I'd be surprised if the guy has a website. And I feel like if the game looks good, though. I mean, at least to me, it looks well done. The action is well paced. It seems very. Of course, this is the type of game you pick up for like $5, $10, not even $10, I'd say, and play 3 hours and move on.
Yeah, they said the gameplay roughly lasts you about 15 minutes, because that's the most you can last in a round. So, and it's one like you might want to. It's arcade style, and the music keeps you going. It keeps you in there. So
yeah, I have two questions for whoever wants to pick that up. Is the first obviously is do you guys agree with me? Do you guys think that this is something that it's been done over and over again, but there's it seems to be well done, well put together. It seems fun.
I have a lot of confidence in this game, mainly because Bo Blythe is working on it. And so Bo Blythe worked on a little game called Hyper Light Drifter. It did okay.
Oh.
So I don't know how involved he was in it, but I know when they announced the game that his name was attached to it. And so everything that I've heard about this game just through the indie sphere has been really good. So I'm very optimistic that what it's doing, it will do really well.
Oh, so you're not discovering this?
No. This is one of the ones on the list that I've been following since it was announced.
Oh, very nice.
In the indie scene,
so
there's a
makes,
lot of people tweeting and talking about it.
What do you think makes this good?
Well, considering Hyper Light Drifter just came out not too long ago, I think this was one of those ideas that they probably prototyped at some point in development. So I don't think it was the whole team. I think it was just one of the guys from Hyper Light Drifter. But the rest of the team, they probably just prototyped this and said, this is a good idea, let's flesh it out. And they just kept on going. And I think the trailer, I might be wrong, but I think the trailer was done, I can't remember his name right now, but a guy that does a lot of indie game trailers. And
I can tell.
Yeah, when he posted the trailer, he was really excited about it. So everything I've heard has been really good.
Yeah, because the trailer kind of makes you play. Don't you think so, Chris?
Well, the thing is, it's this game, like exactly this game has been done before, but without all the fucks in it. And it was called Crimson Land, and it came out on it was the old casual game developer Reflexive put this game out and did really well back in like the golden age of the download casual. It was like 2008, 2009, something like that. And it was a fun game back then. It was a lot of fun. Now this seems to have added some stuff to it, and it's got it's a little bit more over the top with its graphics and the profanity, but it was fun when it was Crimson Land. So I believe in it being a fun game now. It was fun then, and this looks like it's a pretty good rip of that, and it looks like fun. I don't know. For me it seems like one of those games that's trying really hard to be the game that goes to PAX and gets indie people talking about how much they love it because A, it's really hard, and B, it looks like it's got a lot of street cred. And while those tend to do really well for a short period of time, they tend to not really have a lot of longevity. And every now and then one of them hits because it gains some sort of viral meme like, oh, this is the thing that everyone thinks is cool right now. And sometimes I question it. Sometimes I think these are kind of like the fidget spinners of games, where you look at them and you're like, why is this a thing? Like, it's cool, but there's like 1,000 things that are cool. Why did we pick this one? But maybe this is it. You know, like, maybe it's not. I don't know. We'll find out when the world of Twitch and whatever gets their hands on it. But it's certainly cute. I mean, it's certainly a fun looking little game.
Yeah, this one releases June 2nd.
Dave, how do you respond to that?
Well, you know those kind of games where you've had a hard day at work, you come home, you want to chill out and relax. I think this is not one of those games. It's just absolutely crazy. I think after 10 minutes I'd probably need to wash my eyes. You know, but it does look fun. It does look fun. I think it's kind of, if you've got 10-15 minutes in between doing something else and you want to play something, this would be a good thing to pick up. If you've got some stress you want to relieve, this is it's good. I like the one shot one kill thing. It looks absolutely crazy. So yeah, I'd definitely play it. Yeah, I like it.
It feels like a top-down Devil Daggers, and I think it could have that same.
Yeah, exactly. Well said. That was a big hit last year, and it really didn't have much. It really didn't have much that was all that impressive about it, except that it was well built. But like from a visual, from a trailer, I wouldn't have guessed it'd be a hit. And it just kind of like Chris said, it kind of caught on.
Yeah, I was actually thinking of the same thing as Shane. There are lots of those smaller titles coming out that just focus on one thing and get that one thing done, such as Devil's Dagger is just basically a survival arena style game, and this one seems to be the same. They just focus on, screw reloading, screw character progression, screw this, screw that, let's just do one thing right and that's blowing up stuff as much as you want. And there is big market for that, certainly. But at the same time, it feels like, as Chris said, it's either hit or very short-lived kind of a meme thing, which will be really interesting to see how it hits. Because for me, I can certainly see the appeal in such kind of games where you just want to have short-term experiences instead of having the longer build-up or levels, which some of the indie games go for. Some of those games just say, nah, screw it, let's just go for those short matches, and I think it's really great to fill in this kind of niche of short-term indie gaming. We need more of that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so don't you kill it when you put a price wall on that? On game development itself?
Well, I don't know. I mean, the question is, what the knowledge that we have so far about what's changing on Steam, and this is still not finalized, is that it's going to be something like $1,000 to put a game on Steam. Does this guy believe he's going to build $1,000 worth of value, right? And that's the question. And this looks like, if it does well, yeah, sure, it should make $1,000, right? And so that's the thing, is when you start out on a game and you're thinking about putting it on Steam, are you serious enough about it that you think it's going to earn $1,000? Well, then put it on Steam.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure there's already a sunk cost to developing a game before you even get to Steam, right?
Well, of course.
Like when I look at the 10 games we're looking at today, I think this is the one that's going to have the biggest return on investment in terms of it costs X and it makes X more than what it costs. I think this one's easily going to be the most profitable in terms of the cost of development, because I think it's got good buzz. I see it in my Twitter feed all the time when something new comes out, and my Twitter feed is just a bunch of indies and indie journalists, so they're all talking about it. So I think I wouldn't be surprised to see this in the top 25 when it comes out tomorrow. And
it doesn't have a price list on it.
$1,000. Sorry?
It doesn't have a price on it yet, so we can't even gauge
we don't know.
What is it going to cost yet.
My guess is $9.99, but it might be $14.99.
I never got why. Actually, it's a good thing you bring it up, Ariana, because I never got why Steam does that. They don't reveal the price until you guys launch the game.
But that's up to developers, not Steam. Although
really,
yeah, you can set it internally.
Huh? Because I've never seen the price tag on a game before it releases. And
I'm wondering if they're waiting to see what the hype is going to be like, and then set their price.
Yeah.
I think you can see price tag on some games, like when you actually can pre-order, but usually the price is not revealed. It just became a standard practice on revealing the price on the launch day for whatever reason.
All right, let's move on to the next one. It's number 9. We're looking at Next Machina. Next Machina, pressing play. The first paragraph will do, Ariana.
Okay. So this is it's another arcade game style with twin stick shooter from House Marquee. Taking hits from both Robotron and Smash TV, Next Machina focuses on pure action. Oh, that's my timer. I'm out of time. It's voxel destruction and competition in the distant cable punk themed future.
That's what you get.
That was fast.
It's developed by House Marquee, kicking ass and taking names. Their headquarters in Helsinki, Finland, and House Marquee is a game developer working on console and PC. True to their core gamer audience, they prioritize stratified gameplay mechanics and impeccable audiovisual execution to create euphoric gaming experience. Today, House Marquee claims to be one of the most experienced and well-known developers of downloadable games for console platforms with a successful track record spanning 20 plus years. Next Machina does look beautiful. Does look very impressive.
Yeah.
The visuals, everything. This at least this speaks to me. I'm gonna start with you, Chris, and get your first impressions on this.
Well, I mean, what's interesting when you look at the gameplay footage on this, there's actually a lot of crossover in what's going on between this and the game we just looked at, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
and for me as a gamer, I get really excited. I get more excited when I see this, and I know that like somewhere an indie just rolled over in their grave and like, oh my god, the pixel art is better. But come on, this art's better. Like you know, we have this conversation in every one of these shows. I was around back when pixel art was a thing because we had to do pixel art. We don't have to do pixel art anymore. We can do art that looks like this. And this game looks beautiful. I mean, it has the same sort of let's run around, a bunch of shit's shooting at me, I'm trying to not get shot. I mean, it's got a, you know, in terms of what I'm doing, it's very similar. But holy crap, objectively, if space aliens were to come down from Earth and look at these two games and say which one looks better, well, this one looks better, right? And
But
so
you don't think it errs too close to kind of like the arcade days of top-down shooters, bullet hell things? I don't know that has that much of an audience nowadays.
I don't know if it does or it doesn't, but holy shit, this is pretty, right? I mean, we should support this. We should support good mid-range,
I agree.
solid-looking games like this that look like they have great gameplay. All the little videos with the I don't even like anime art. You know I hate anime, but come on, this looks good. This looks solid. You know, I look at this and I think I wish that the world had more games in this space, this mid-range. Obviously, it's got quality. Obviously, it had a real team behind it. Obviously, these people know how to make video games.
That's true.
But it's not Assassin's Creed. It's not. Look, it's Gears of War 13 made by some huge megacorp. This is these are real human beings that made this game, and I like it. People should support this.
Dave,
I like this.
I love it. The particle effects are fantastic. The color, the use of color is gorgeous, and the environments are just phenomenal. I'd love to run around there. Yeah, it looks. It blows me away. This one. And I agree with Chris when you compare that to the previous one. I kind of, I understand the pixel art thing. I'm not a massive fan of pixel art, but it's got a place. But when you see this is just gorgeous, really gorgeous to look at, and all the effects are so slick. The lighting is really well done. Even the depth in it, where you've got that underneath. The destruction, the voxel destruction, looks brilliant. It's just really, really polished.
So
looks a lot of fun.
Do you think it's going to get the success it deserves? At least in your eyes?
No. Not in a million years.
No.
So-
No.
Yeah.
Tormentor Cross Punisher is going to do way better than this.
Yeah, sadly.
Shane, why is that in your opinion?
I think Chris nailed it. You know, he said it was a middle-of-the-road game, and all you find in the middle of the road in a crowded market is roadkill. You got to go one way or the other. And this game does nothing remarkable, but does everything very, very well. You know, it does lighting
with style.
It looks good. But it doesn't have the style on the edge that Tormentor Cross Punisher has. You know,
See,
that
this
game
is
all about-
where
I feel like that's subjective.
No, I gotta jump in and I gotta disagree. This is where the indie sphere has got its head so firmly planted in its ass that, like, you know, it's like, unless this game looks a little bit shit, it's not edgy. And I'm like, why does everything have to look shit to be credible?
It's focusing on the visuals. I'm talking about what the game's promising. And this game is telling me it's a generic cyberpunk top-down shooter. And that's been done a billion times before. What Tormentor Cross Punisher is promising is everything dies in one hit. It's going to be very demanding. It's going to be over the top. It's going to to be ridiculous in your face.
I played that 6 years ago. It was called Crimson Land.
You're
There's
saying
nothing original in Tormentor.
But in a
Nothing
way, you're
original at all.
I'm not the one who makes up the market.
You're saying that Tormentor is going to be technically on point in terms of game mechanics and what you expect out of the player, when Nex Machina is going to be more like the bullet hell, shoot just as much stuff as you can.
I think Nex Machina is going to be a little bit more generic, and I think that what Tormentor Cross Punisher is going to do well, it's going to do extremely well. And I think that difference
I gotta stick on this.
is what makes it.
Nail it hard,
Way
Chris.
that we just assume that when something looks good, we say, well, that's not credible. Obviously this game that's got pixel art, that's made by people who really care about games, and because they've made a bunch of big promises about all the things that it's going to do, it's obviously going to be better. I don't see anything in this trailer that indicates to me that Nex Machina is going to be an inferior game in terms of its gameplay.
If Bo Blythe hasn't already had a couple of games in the Independent Games Festival and hasn't made a few successful, well-reviewed games already, I totally agree with you.
Okay, wait, we gotta break it. We gotta move on. We gotta break it. But before we move on, I'd like to get Anton's thoughts on this. I mean, please, Anton, be temperate,
just
be calm.
sitting in this game
Just chill out.
discussing this, and I actually have to agree with Shane too.
You're all in on, Chris.
But the thing is, when I'm looking at this game, it looks amazing. It's something I want to play, because this is just like pure fun without pretentious one-thing gimmick that Tormentor has going for it. I don't like such gimmicks for me. This brings me to another game called Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light. It's I don't know when it came out, like 2010 or so. It was a fairly popular game, not too popular, but still got done pretty good. It was this simple top-down 3D kind of like challenge game. It had a lot more puzzles going to it, but this game gives the same vibe as Lara Croft, which is basically a solid top-down gameplay that I know that I will enjoy. But it's harder to pitch to the masses, and it doesn't have the same punch to it as the Tormentor does, sadly. I know I will be picking this game over the Tormentor because it looks gorgeous. It has all those juicy effects. It just looks like pure fun without any kind of extra mechanics in the way. But yeah, I was Shane on this one.
Sorry, Chris. We're moving on.
Yeah, all right. I'm yes. I'll push my opinions down a bit.
Moving on, and a shift in direction in terms of what we're looking at. We're looking at hot plates. Go right ahead, Oriana.
Yeah, now we have a casual sim.
From
All right,
Brazil.
so this one comes out June 16th. This is developed by Blue Box Interactive. This is Rolljar's Entertainment's debut game. So this is the future world of cooking. You are a chef in a space restaurant, and it has swift gameplay, which you are creating food, creating your kitchen. There's a lot of things to discover and build upon in this game. It is definitely casual sim, something you're just going to want to enjoy and sit back and play. So what do you guys think? How do you like it? What does it look like to you?
I've seen it at PAX. And they do a lot of advertising. There's a lot of promotion. I think they won a bunch of awards in Latin America. I forget the exact country in which they have the big international convention. And it's from Brazil, and it seems fun. It's a cool concept. It's original. I'm kind of like intrigued by its this release. I don't know if it's truly original though. Part of me is kind of divided on this game. It seems to be just well designed and well thought out in terms of what could sell. And I'm skeptical about how fun it actually is. So if anybody wants to give feedback on that.
I'd like to mention over in the chat, people are comparing this game to Overcooked, which is a really good comparison. I actually played me some Overcooked recently, and it's a really fun game. And there's a lot in this that looks like Overcooked, which was a really fun game. So in that sense, it's probably fun. What I don't see or what I haven't heard is whether or not this game that we're looking at has co-op. It doesn't show anything that looks like
single player.
Yeah,
it's just single player casual sim.
what was most fun in Overcooked was the co-op play, and so I wonder if maybe this is them trying to come up with a way to make Overcooked fun in single player, which I guess maybe is fun.
One thing
I
it
thought I'd
offers
bring
is
it up 'cause
farming
Jack's
and
talking about
cloning your own animals for your restaurant. So that might be a little bit of something different. They're trying to add to it.
It's a simulation. Shane?
Yeah, it's hard to say. The thing that strikes me about this is there's nothing that gets me interested in it. Visually, it looks adequate. It feels like a little bit of a student project. But until you play it, it's really hard to say whether or not it's fun. Like, it could just have this incredible compulsion loop in it and be super interesting to play. And maybe there's a sense of humor that doesn't come out in the trailer at all that could make it really take off. But what I see in the trailer doesn't get me excited at all about the game. But
It's funny you mentioned that because I struggled to document this game just browsing stuff online. Like, I couldn't even find a wallpaper for it.
I like the tagline. I think they should put that as their tagline. Visually adequate. I think that's
Yeah, one of the things that
it's
was
not
brought
pixel
up.
art, Chris. Sorry.
it's true. This is no pixel art.
Ouch.
I know, I'm just sitting and watching here as a trailer over and over. I'm just having troubles gauging what the gameplay is about. I mean, yeah, it looks fast-paced, looks fun, kind of like a little bit of puzzle timing to it, but it's not easy to grasp what the game actually, where the challenge is, other than combining items. When I've been watching Overcooked too, and in Overcooked it comes off, you just grasp it, okay, what's the fun is actually, you compete with your friends on cooking the dishes, what is the selling pitch here, other than it being a cooking simulator, what's the actual gameplay? I'm still trying to understand that one.
One of the things that you do is your customers come in and they have orders and they want to keep it simple. I did read this because people were complaining about how boring the gray looks and everything. But as you build your kitchen, the colors increase because things you bring in add to it. And then your recipes, they kept it simple so you could memorize them. Because the faster the gameplay happens, the more customers come in, the more you have to memorize these recipes. And I guess in that way it's a kind of a thinking memorization, go with it kind of game. You have to be fast and on your feet and keep it up with this. And then that's why they added the farming and the animal cloning, just to give it that little extra bit of oomph to it to make it somewhat stand out from probably Overcooked.
I think it comes down to what Shane is saying, is that maybe the game is good. We don't know that. We're not going to sugarcoat everything, but maybe the game is good. But in terms of presentation, they haven't really done a good job at promoting the game. I think even the trailer itself really doesn't give you much that kind of makes you want to buy the game.
I think the trailer is the problem, because unless you're playing it, the timings of it you can't really appreciate, and the sense of haste and I'm going to miss the orders. You don't get that from the trailer. You just see this whatever that is going around. I would say the adequate look thing. It's kind of clean, and I like the way things are laid out. It's kind of fairly appealing, I think. But there is nothing that's giving you that sense of haste, and I'm going to lose my job if I don't cook this stuff. It's not really portraying that. It just you don't really know what's going on. So I think probably they've just missed the mark. It could potentially be really good, but I think they've missed the mark with the trailer. They should maybe have given you a lot more details about what it's about, and maybe a little cutscene or something like that, and less of this little robot thing meandering around picking up things. It just doesn't tell you anything really.
Yeah, it could be Factorio meets Stardew Valley, and it could be like the most compulsive game ever
Yeah,
played, right?
exactly. It could be amazing.
But you can't tell from the trailer. It's really hard to say.
That's a good example.
Let's move on to number 7. I'm sorry. Number 7 is Shootout on Cash Island, and it's coming out in early access. Ariana, up to you.
Yeah, it came out just today. As a matter of fact, it's going to be $8.99. This one's developed by Quantized Bits. And so in this game, this actually comes from other games. It's like Broforce. There's no terrain destruction or you jump the high guns. This is a side story to a follow-up game, other game called Hot Guns. and they also have Prison Run and Guns. So this is like another side story. So your Bobby from your team's got a job to locate and secure a legendary money tree, but it always happens that there's all these nonsense stories that go along. So you use guns, helmets, grenades, jetpacks, find and collect the map pieces placed in empty jam jars around the island. It is just a hard action platformer that is a side story to another game that they put out before. So take a look at the trailer, see, it looks kind of cute, a little bit of action, a little bit of jumping. Some are going to compare it to Broforce. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Whoever wants to pick that one up.
The trailer's looking amazing. I mean, the intro here is what immediately sold me of the game. You know, you see this fish jumping on the water and like, oh yeah, he's gonna try time jumping with nope, go back and get bazooka and shoot it up. That what immediately sells the game to me because it seems to not take itself too seriously, and I'm really looking forward to playing it.
Yeah.
That just lots of pop culture references,
No.
what it seems like as well.
Not seriously, but still a level of polish, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's from the Broforce guys, so you can expect the polish. But at the same time, it kind of sets itself apart with the team, where you just do things a little bit differently. And it's all the small touches, like guy running around on fire, sitting on fire, or you jumping on this guy floating in the pool. It's what makes it different from other platformers for me. And of course, pixel art. It's awesome, right, Chris?
All right, God damn it! I'm gonna go there. This looks fun. This looks like it's got some nice game design in it. The world needs another side-scrolling platformer. I guess the current 6 billion of them isn't enough. We need 6 billion and one. Look,
Well, now this
it's
one's
got.
got story
But do you
with it,
think
Chris.
so? But
Yeah,
you know,
because
let me
none
throw.
of no side-scroller ever had a bazooka or a story or a shark. Or at some point, you just have to give in and say not everything has to be original.
But
Fine, I get that, right?
Let me
And
ask.
I guess people want pixel art, so there's pixels.
But let me ask you. So let me ask you this question, Chris. Do you think Broforce deserved its success?
I mean, I don't have a value judgment on it. If people liked it and people played it, then I guess it did. I mean, I'm not everybody, and my opinions aren't
Right.
everybody's opinions. People dig this, and I guess go ahead. But again, this is fun gameplay. Like if I look at it from a game design perspective and not an art perspective, there's actually nice platform gameplay going on in this trailer. This looks like these people know how to build a side-scrolling platformer, and a relatively interesting one. But again, I think, couldn't they do it with art that doesn't look shit? Is that not a thing?
I don't think it looks shit. I mean, I hate to
I know.
stay stuck on the like. This
You're
is.
Right, it's colorful.
It doesn't
I
look
get
like
it.
shit to me.
People like shit art, and more power to them, I guess. But every time I see this, I think to myself, we don't have to make games that look like this. You could be credible and do everything that this game is doing and have art that's not pixel. But
I think it's
some
nostalgia.
people like
Yeah,
pixel art.
okay,
so
but here's the thing:
more
like
com-
it's pixel art, but the action feels modern. You know the way
I
the
will
way
say
things.
I will say this is actually really good pixel art. Compared to most pixel art games, this is done very well. I will grant it that.
Because I think
But-
what makes pixel art in 2017, it's not so much actually pixel art, is when you blend pixel art with good triggers, like good action, good mechanics, and it's a rhythm thing. Somehow pixel art kind of opens itself to games that have good rhythm. Developers that have good rhythm in the way the action unfolds, at least to me. And that's when a pixel game really comes together. It's when everything feels tight. Everything
But
feels
my
juicy
argument
and hot.
is that bit that you're saying there, where like it has to be pixels to be that way. You could do everything this game is doing and not do it in pixel art. But again,
Right.
some people like pixel art, so more power to them. Go do it.
No, like,
You ask
but
my
why
opinion,
would you want
I
to do it differently? Why would you want to do it in like the normal art? Because it feels like you were starting
Because
to
this looks shit. Because pixel art is shit. That's why.
Oh,
And I don't get it. I don't get it.
art,
People like it.
good and
But it's
bad.
a taste.
Go ahead, Anton.
No, like it feels weird to me to just be commenting on the game's art because that's such a subjective thing. That does not look shit. That looks simple, sure, but it serves its purpose of conveying exactly what the gameplay is about and what the game wants to tell you. It doesn't want to be this cold 3D whatever because it wouldn't probably work for this kind of gameplay. It would not work for this kind of genre. Complex 3D just wouldn't
There are a million art styles out there that aren't complex 3D. There's wonderful 2D side-scrolling art that many companies have done historically that looks really nice. It's this link of a game can't be credible unless it's pixel art because pixel art has some sort of magic sauce that I take issue with.
I mean, Chris is not entirely wrong, Shane. Like there is a lot of that culture that kind of plagues the system, I feel. But I think Chris takes it to an extreme, and
to an extreme.
but
hey, you asked my opinion. That's my opinion.
It's fair. But I do feel like that's the genre is used and abused a little bit because we know it sells.
It's also the simplest genre to get into. I mean, 2D side-scrolling is one of the simplest thing you can take on, but what isn't simple is to get its gameplay right and tight as Brute Force done it, for example, because that's a 2D platformer done right. And sure, they did it with pixel art, and it works for them. You see so many simple, bad 2D platformers that you kind of like maybe have Chris' reaction when you see yet another side-scrolling pixel art, but you have to give the game credit for when it does the things right, which this one seems to do from the trailer at least.
No, I agree. Like I'm saying, everything except the pixel art looks like they really have done a wonderful job here. This looks like it would be a fun-to-play game. My sadness, and I hate to take it out on this game because it seems like they've done pretty good pixel art, to be honest. My sadness is there is a whole generation of computer artists out there who are not being heard. And there's a million art styles that we could be using that are not all fancy 3D. There's wonderful 2D art. Yeah. There's all kinds of wonderful artistic representations of games that we could be doing that aren't pixel art, but because the indie sphere has just planted its head right up in its colon and said, if it's not pixel art, it's shit. Those artists aren't being heard, and that makes me sad. That part of the indie revolution makes me angry.
But
that's my opinion.
It has so many nuances to it too. You have like Swords and Sorcery on one hand, then you have, for example, the newly come out Dead Cells on completely other hand, which are two complete opposites. Sure, they both are pixel arts and have pixels in them. Then you have this as well. It's like saying, 3D. 3D has so many variations that it's impossible to just put it all together in one single package and say, oh no, yet another 3D game. In the industry loves 3D. You have to see pixel art for when it does pixel art right, and when pixel art done is right, it's just great. But it's overused, sure.
It's a good conclusion. It's the end of the debate on pixel games, because everything from now on, the first four usually tend to evolve around pixel games. But we're moving on to number 6. One I'm ecstatic about just because I grew up with it. Like I grew up with that game, and it's so funny because it's been 3 years that I try to remember the name of this game as I do this podcast and these events and stuff. And every time I try to explain, you remember when we had the little cars that we run around and we're like on a couch with people, and everybody looks at me like, they gave me a bunch of games, and suddenly last week, 2 weeks ago, when I put together the show and I was looking at all the games, Micro Machines, that's what it was. So without any further delay, Ariana, Micro Machines, and I will press play.
That is all right. This one's developed by Codemasters. These guys founded in 1986, so they've been around since pixel games, Chris. But this game is not pixels. It is gorgeous. They've been UK's most successful game developers for 3 decades. You're going to love this. It has legendary locations, cool interactive playsets, customizable vehicles, the weapons you can put on these, crazy. It is official Hasbro licenses. There's classic miniature racing. They have battle modes, team play. It has online and offline multiplayer features. This game is so much fun. So, Dave, take a look at this. Hungry Hippos. What do you think? Has this got you excited?
Absolutely fantastic. I love the locations. Just the little toys and the skateboard and the big loop-the-loop. I mean, I remember Micro Machines before, and they've always looked good. They've always kind of done it like this, but this just looks. It's just gorgeous looking. I really like it. The action's really good. I love when they do the big jumps and the cars come right out, almost banging into the camera. It looks epic fun. I think.
And I think Codemasters Codemasters seem to really have nailed it, and they don't always. Not to be too critical of Codemasters, but sometimes the games they produce, develop, it's kind of a letdown, and sometimes they're great. The production of this one seems they took the task at hand seriously, because I don't think we've seen the Micro Machines for a long time, have we?
No, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
I've always liked them, and the whole the color palettes, the whole color change of the different areas, they all look so different. There's a lot of art gone into this, a lot of love.
I would say almost
really
maybe
polished.
I would say almost maybe 15-20 years since we last saw Micro Machines.
Is it that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I was 15. It was like 20 years ago, probably, if even that. I think.
Yeah, it would have been 20 years because I remember playing this when I started in the game development in QA at Electronic Arts, and we would play this every single lunch hour for like 3 months straight. And it was just like when I
Same
saw
here.
this on the list, I was just like,
So
yes, Micro
yes,
Machines.
it's back. Now I need to find friends. Now
If
I need to find people who play with me.
and you can convince people to play with you, this could be a huge game. But nobody thinks Micro Machines is fun unless they remembered playing it. Like the brand doesn't have a lot of hook to it. But if it's as fun as the old one, if it's as fun as it looks, it'll find an audience. And
I think so.
I think it will have a long, thick tail because of the multiplayer. And I think there will be things like, what are we doing this weekend? Let's play Micro Machines. And somebody's
Exactly.
Like,
See, like, and isn't in many ways the couch co-op revival that we've seen on Steam over the past couple of years, like kind of symbolizing the fact that there's whether or not you've experienced Micro Machines 20 years ago, there's going to be an audience for this, and it's almost like the new generation of gamers is going to find themselves exactly where we found ourselves 20 years ago, on a couch with a bunch of friends just having a blast, doing stuff that we probably shouldn't talk about on Twitch. Just
It's
saying.
actually fun because when I
Right.
first saw the trailer for this game, I had the exact same reaction as you, Fred, because I recall playing original Micro Machines on some crappy old notebook with Windows 95, 98, whatever it was, probably over 10 years ago, and it was awesome. You know, just blasting away other cars, putting those small mines, collecting all the cool weapons, and to me this seems like same kind of game as Worms. Say it's a little bit weird. It's a comedy game that you play with your friends just to try and screw with each other, and again it's a couch co-op. Might not be a huge hit on PCs, but for
Probably not.
consoles I really see myself getting this one because I love the original game, and that's why I'm interested. But there are many gamers who never heard of it, and they just say cars, cool, let's just blow each other up, which is a huge selling point. And yeah, art style is good as well.
Chris,
Well, Anton, it does have online multiplayer, so like even if you're on PC, you can still do the
It's not the
online
same thing.
multiplayer in your own place.
I think it's
know
not.
it.
I think
It's not the
Micro
same thing.
Machine made itself between friends. I don't think you can have the Micro Machines experience, quite frankly, online with some random guy that you hear in your headphones and he's insulting your
I
mother.
agree. It's all about the the laughing and the sharing the experience, isn't it?
Yes.
It's
Oh, it has
It's a
local
co-op,
multiplayer
yeah.
too. You can
I think-
probably set your own servers to get your friends coming in.
If
Yeah,
Codemasters did a good job seeding streamers with keys for this game, so that the week it comes out, they're all running, like the main menu team is doing a bunch of streams, and all the other groups within Twitch are all doing team streams. Like if you guys
Yeah.
do an
Yeah.
OpNoobs team stream,
Yeah.
like if you're not getting keys from these guys to do a team stream, they're totally missing it on marketing, which isn't a surprise. Most AAA
Okay,
companies
Sweet
don't
Ruin.
seed streamers. but-
Codemasters is pretty good though, honestly, in my
Yeah.
experience. Like we've covered a bunch of their stuff, and even when we just got started, Codemasters was pretty good about sharing keys and getting the word out there. I don't know if they'll do that for Micro Machines, but because I think it's very anticipated Micro Machines. It's so I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. Chris, I'm
This
I'm
being the number one game on Twitch the day it comes out. Like that week, it'll be a top 5 game on Twitch guaranteed, for
I
sure.
can see that.
Chris, you seem so utterly unexcited. I'm scared to ask you.
No, the thing is, I think I have a very different experience with this than you guys do. I never played Micro Machines ever. No, I've never
Oh.
played a minute of it in my life, and so for me, looking at this trailer, it was new to me, right? I'd never seen this. It was new to me, and it looks good. It looks fun. There looks like there's lots of cool action. The cars look cool. Everything looks cool. I'm not coming at it from this place of nostalgia that you guys are, where I'm like, oh my God, I really want to play this because I used to play it. I've never played a minute of this in my life. So this is totally fresh to me. So I think I don't have that visceral gut reaction that you guys do from your past. But looked at objectively as a brand new game, this looks awesome. This looks really fun. And what I like about it is it looks like they so often you see people, they get a license and they're like, damn, we got to make this license game, and we're sellouts or whatever. It looks like they've really embraced this license and done something really fun with it. I love the little Hungry Hippos thing coming out, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's retro, that's fun. Like, you can tell that this is a case of somebody taking a Hasbro license, which is kind of not the most exciting thing in the world of development, and doing something really interesting and fun with it. So I'm rather pumped about
My
this.
concern is that we've seen these kind of games left and right over the past 10 years. It's been tried. It hasn't had the Micro Machines label on it, but we've seen them come out, and they haven't been all that successful. So I don't know if there's something, intrinsic to the mechanics in Micro Machines that makes it so good, or if, it's lived its time and this is not going to be a hit. I don't know.
Looks pretty though.
Yes, it does.
Moving on.
I don't know what the price is going to be on it. That could also affect it partially because they don't have it listed. It's June 20th for its release date. All right, moving on.
Talking about nostalgia, I grew up on Mario Golf, and so when I see a golf game, even though it's not too niche and it's got nothing to do with Mario Golf, I remember the good old days, and there's something about golf and video gaming that, in my opinion, really blends well together, even on a couch with a bunch of friends. Ariana, go right ahead. The Golf Club 2.
I was curious about this one being in your top 10 list, Fred. I really want to hear more about what you think about it. This one's done by HB Studios. They are the world's premier independent developer of interactive sports entertainment. So this is the Golf Club 2. This is single and multiplayer. It is a sports sim. It comes out on June 27th. You can rise to fame and fortune in the most dynamic golf game you've ever created. You can assemble and join online societies with your friends. You can compete in tournaments, earn money, climb the ranks in golf's largest gaming community. This offers a dynamic single-player career mode, so you can start from the beginning and work yourself up. Infinite hours of your golfing with online opponents. So this game offers so much. It has an enhanced swing mechanic that you can use. Player-created dynamic golf courses, which look gorgeous. However, this one does not have VR like the first one did, but still looks amazing.
Yeah, they're doing the Golf Club 1 is getting its VR version, and we know HB Studios well. We know Anthony Kine, who works over there, and a great studio and very proactive on YouTube. They host a bunch of competitions. They have a great YouTube playlist of the Golf Club as a franchise, and this is number 2. To me, it looks great. Looks good, and golf games, there's something about them. There's the strategy component of it is mixed with sports. We don't see a lot of sports games, especially for PC. I think golf works well on PC as a platform, and I don't know that it's gonna be very. It's interesting because I feel like golf games tend to have they never have overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam. They always tend to err around the lukewarm receipts, and I don't know why people are so critical, because it's kind of a niche at the same time. Not everybody's gonna play the golf club, the golf genre. So comments, questions, concerns when you see this, feel free to jump in.
Wow. All right, then.
That sums it up.
It's not your thing. We don't go outside. We don't go virtually outside.
Yes.
So when I got
what are
when we
these
got the
green
list,
things?
when we got the list today, the other day about the games we were covering, I was really surprised when I went on Steam Spy and looked up the first one that they had only sold around 40,000 copies according to Steam Spy, because I thought it had done much, much better. HB Studios, it's a Canadian studio. It's on the other side of Canada. It's a Canadian studio, and I've heard a lot of good things about it within the golf community. I think it's got a big following. Making your own courses is such a great way to build their community, and I think they do a really good job engaging it. It's just going to have this ridiculously thick long tail, and it's just an improvement on a game that I think it should have been a bigger hit, but I think it found its audience within that golf community. But it's not that kind of game that's going to rocket up to number one and everyone's going to be streaming it on Twitch and things like that. It's just going to be a steady seller, like most sports games.
Yeah, and even most simulations, there's a studio, you make me think of OTP Developments. I don't know if you know them. They do like games like Out of the Park Baseball. They also have a hockey franchise manager, like even the football manager. And these are completely different games, right? Because they're like very simulation based. But they cater to a niche, and the niche is small.
But dedicated.
Yeah, but dedicated, exactly, and very much contributing to the product as a whole. Anyone else on this golf game, or do we just move on?
I think it's kind of impressive with all the mount customization. They're going for, like everything surrounding the golfing aspect of stuff, but because it's not often you see a sports game going, all out on the surrounding aspect of the game, which I think is really well done here, judging from the trailer, because they thought about a lot of things. But at the same time, to be completely honest with you, I'm just kind of unmoved by all the simulators and sporting games, because I have troubles understanding the motivation for players to engage in the games, such as a track simulator, for example. It's just beyond me why people play it. But at the same time, when I actually asked some people, like, okay, what do you see in track simulators? They say that, hey, this is just a relaxing experience for me. Some people like to, come home, just put on a podcast, and go drive around through the country on a truck delivering something. It's just a cool, relaxing experience for them, like reading a book or whatever. It's a completely different approach to gaming than what I have in mind, just entertaining, some action, something cool. It's just a completely different niche that I have issues to resonate with. And it's the same thing for the golfing, because as Shane and Dave brought up, they have their niche communities, which this kind of stuff really resonates with, but it probably won't be, a huge splash hit everywhere all over the net. Which is a shame. I mean, it looks like a really well done game. It's just a very niche kind of game, I guess.
Dave, how do you respond to that? Because your game is very different. My Word is got nothing. It's not a golf game at all. But you demand a lot from your audience. You demand your audience to really get into your game in a very creative and engaging way. As a matter of fact, your game is you expect it's the gaming community that builds the game. You give them the tools to build the game. And I guess it's different for the golf club too, but I think there's a parallel that can be drawn in terms of
the world building side of it, the course building looks very interesting. I love the way that the terrain kind of lifts out of the water. I do find it from the trailer, like this shot there, the previous shot of the house and the water looked fantastic, and then they show a close-up shot of the actual golf gameplay, and it doesn't look anywhere near as good. It seems to be, it looks odd to me. So, and some of the UI looks very boring. I think it looks quite kind of dull. So I kind of think I don't know. It looks like a bit of a mishmash of things. Some things are really, really nice looking, and other things are quite plain. And then the UI doesn't look
in the
very,
UI. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't kind of grab you. I know, golf is not a game of fast action, but I don't know. It just doesn't really grab me. I liked Mario Golf as well.
Because you expect a certain level of polish in the UI.
Yeah, it just looks unappealing, doesn't it? It just looks very plain. It just does what it's meant to and nothing more. And I know golf isn't a fast-paced action, blow people's heads off kind of thing, but
still,
you just want to feel a nice little bit of warmth and a little bit of polish. It just seems
that was
to
Mario
kind
Golf.
of lack that.
That was Mario Golf.
Yeah.
Mario Golf had all that polish and those shiny and those noises.
Yeah,
and
exactly. Yeah,
it felt
It
very.
actually feels like a golf car simulator rather than a golf simulator. Basically, you build kind of community around the golf rather than it being about playing the golf. It's about building the golf courses and the houses and everything around it. So I would really view it as a simulator of the metagame rather than sports game.
And Chris, final thoughts on the Golf 2? The Golf Club 2?
It happens every show. There's always something that I'm like, this is not my game. Nobody made this game for me. I have no interest in this game. I have no business critiquing it because this is nothing that I would ever play. But that doesn't mean it sucks, right? I mean, that means Chris isn't into it, right?
You're not part of the 40,000 people out there.
Yeah, this game was not made for me. So I feel very uncomfortable saying anything about it other than, yeah, the graphics look pretty. I mean, I feel bad for a whole team of crafted, like, amazing artists that were like,
Yeah,
okay,
it's
here's
impressive.
but somewhere some artist was like, okay, for the next 2 months, I'm going to model golf players. That had to hurt somebody somewhere. But, like, other than that, I mean, it looks like a great game. I feel for the guy. It's like, okay, it's Wednesday, time to make another guy in Bermuda shorts. I feel for that.
It's been snowed in for the last 6 months anyways, so they're totally fine. They got
I guess he's getting paid, some more power to him. But this game is not for me. I can't critique this.
Let's move on. The number 4, Danganronpa, another episode, Ultra Despairs Girls.
All right, so this one comes from Spike Chunsoft Co. Limited. They are a Japanese video game development and localization company. They specialize in role-playing video game and visual novels. This company was founded in 1984, so they also have a few games under their belts. And so this one has action anime. It's kind of violent. There's a female protagonist, but it does hit on some heavy issues. So it has a storyline. This is follow-up to some other games. I think they had 2 other games. This one comes out June 27th. So Korma Niegi's little sister to Mako, all these things. Chris, you should totally be reading this for me. She's been imprisoned inside a mysterious apartment for over a year. One day she's rescued, and the story keeps going. The key features are this is a third-person shooter action sequence. It uses a hacking gun to have fighting chance against the hordes that you will encounter. It has riddles and puzzles and tons of different type of ammo, because that really matters. So it has Steam achievements and cloud, and they have trading cards. Yay, let's look at this game. It's really something.
It's a big one for NIS America. NIS America does a good job at releasing quite a few games from Japan, from your parts of town, Chris. And this is a big one for them. It's a bigger production, and it looks interesting. I don't know what I make of it personally. I'm not a fan. But I think there's some appeal to it. I don't know how much appeal to a Western audience. It's always the kind of the tricky questions. Comments?
You put this on here to troll me, didn't you?
Yeah.
You know
Like
my
Chris,
feelings about
up and with
anime and Japanese schoolgirls and the whole thing, and you put this on here just because you wanted me to rant at it. That's the only reason that's here, right?
Yeah. And the fact that I'm also kind of always weirded out by those little girls in the gaming industry wearing those shorts.
I don't know. Every time you show me a game and it starts out with like a girl in a schoolgirl outfit, I'm just like, huh? Are you really? Is this
Like,
where we're going? Is this really we're gonna talk about this? All right, fine. It's one of these. I don't know.
Because NIS America has been very successful in selling those in the US.
Yeah, because the world's got a lot of pedophiles. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. Shane, you got a big smile on your face, like thinking, what do you make of that stuff? The culture, they call it localization, but they don't seem to be localizing much.
I think the game's going to do just fine. It's got its following. I'm really surprised they went into third-person shooter, because when you look at those sequences in the game, it doesn't hold up with the rest of the game. It feels like, it feels like a student third-person shooter project that is still in the early phases, where everything else is stuff that they've done before. They're obviously really comfortable with that. But it's not my scene either, Chris, but I understand that people love this stuff, and I'm not going to hold it against them. And most of the people I know who love this stuff are not pedophiles, only a few.
That's the thing, right?
Only a few.
Only a few.
Only a small portion.
No, but
of
it's
the
totally
people
right.
who enjoy this
Actually,
game are pedophiles.
true fact. We've covered a lot of these games. Since we started, we've got more than 2,000 reviews on the site, and I guarantee you that every time we've come across this type of games and we threw it out to the writing department saying who wants to review it, it's a girl who picks it up. Like I shit
Well, it's
you
got
not.
that female protagonist
Like,
to it.
Most of
That's
the
what-
writers are OPN
part of it.
that grab Japanese stuff. It's girls. So it's got, you know,
kick-ass fighting. That's it. So
I don't know what it's about, but I think the anime takes way, like, I don't think people care about the little girls, they care about the anime, and there's nothing wrong
I'll
about
say
it.
this: watching this trailer, objectively watching this trailer, all of my opinions aside, I really struggle to figure out what the hell this game is. Like
Yeah.
I mean,
But
it's
I
got
always feel
so
that
much
way about it.
going on.
Unless it's like your
And I'm
typical
like,
RPG.
what do I do in this game? Am I shooting people? Is it an RPG? Like I don't really know what the hell this game is to judge it from the trailer, right? I don't know anything about this series. I don't know anything about this. Just looking at the trailer, it just seems like a hodgepodge of, look, aren't bears with knives cool and schoolgirls? And don't you want this? And I'm like, but what do I do?
But that's
how do I play this?
localization, right? I think that's how they localize the games. They give you the stuff that's actually that really doesn't capture the game well. They just give you the stuff that they think are the elements of the game that are going to sell well here.
Yeah.
I would argue that it's very hard to judge these games by the way they package it all together for a Western audience. Almost like go ahead.
I think I kind of get it after watching the trailer a few times. I mean, first of all, we got the credit as a game for what it does good. So that's no pixel art. That's a win, right, Chris?
Fair enough.
But when I watched the game, this gives the same vibe as Catherine did when you first watch it. You know, that kind of like puzzle platformer, story adventure game, God knows what more. It's a it's like a mashup of styles. And as I gauge from it, it's basically a series of mini games, like where you have to go through the story in different kinds of challenges. Some of them will be side-scrolling, jumping. Some of them will be first-person. Some of them will be completely something different. But I think it's actually really cool format. I'm not sure about this particular presentation because I don't think I will be playing it personally because I don't think it will resonate with me. But what does resonate with me is this kind of like just general wicked atmosphere and the games that doesn't take itself too seriously in a non-Western way. Because a game that doesn't take itself too seriously was that previous platformer games that we discussed, Shootout on the Island, whatever. It doesn't take itself seriously in a Western games. This is a completely different genre of the Japanese kind of completely mad mashup that I know many of people I know love. They just think it's such a completely different storytelling and it's such a completely different format that many play it just for the sake of difference to what you usually experience in Western games, because you can't really point at that and say, oh yes, that's like this other game that I've seen around. Well, except maybe Catherine, because it gives the same vibe. But it's that thing that makes it so kind of cool. It's this gore combined with wicked storytelling, with weird city going on, and I think that's a selling point. This kind of chaotic gameplay that people will be loving. But again, I'm not fan of the series. I don't know what the series is about, what happened before, so I can't really come from that perspective. Just judging from the trailer, you know.
Sure.
Right.
I'm gonna move you guys on. I want to cover the last 3 games over the next 15 minutes so that I get you guys to bed or back to work,
Yeah.
Chris, for you in Japan. It's the 3 AAA games. I would say AAA. Yeah, the number 3. It's you could debate that. Number 3 is Dirt 4. Dirt 4, Rihanna, all yours.
Yeah, this is another one by Codemasters. So this is another racing sim sports. It has single-player, multiplayer, online multiplayer. Most of the games we've covered today also allow for controller support, which is really cool for those of you who are porting from console to PC. So this game its very nature is dangerous. You just feel like you're flat out racing with your heart in your throat. It has a game-changing system called Your Stage. It's an innovative rally route creation tool. So all these games that have creations in them are so much fun. Not only do you get to play the game as it is, but you get to do the creation stuff, just like Dave has in My World. So you can have an infinite number of unique stages at the press of a button. You choose your location, set your route parameters, and then the stage does the work to create a unique rally that you can race on. So you can race with your friends, challenge them to beat your time. You can create shorter, simpler routes. Anyway, Codemasters have sought to combine the levels of thrill and realism from their last year's Dirt Rally with fearless excitement. So you are going to feel like you are really racing in these cars, on this road, on this track.
And in your initial feedback, please don't break it down to it's just another racing game. Because racing games are great and they don't get enough credit, in my opinion.
There
Shane,
is one thing, this game is going to be $60.
Shane, how would you open on this?
I think it looks great. You know, it's rally games generally don't do that well in North America, but I think they have really long legs in Europe. Much bigger rally scene there. You know, I worked on Need for Speed for 5 years, and that driving game audience is not your typical gamer audience, but just like the golf game audience, they're dedicated, they're fanatical, they get really excited about it. I think this game looks great. You know, if I was going to pick a game that the people who play racing games are going to get excited about, this would be on that list.
I want to
Go
jump
ahead,
in,
Chris.
actually. So, Shane, you were talking, or not Shane, sorry, Fred, you were talking some shit about Codemasters earlier. I will say this about Codemasters. They make a good racing game.
Sometimes.
Some,
No, sometimes I feel like
they've
they're...
had a couple. They've had a couple that were better than others, but in general, Codemasters makes a pretty good racing game.
Yeah, and they're one of the only publishers that's really present in the racing scene too, like making multiple franchises of racing games.
I mean, it's deep in their DNA. You know, maybe sometimes
they like on their F1 series.
One of the companies in the world that really cares about racing games is Codemasters by far.
Yes,
right?
yes.
You have to give them that.
No,
And
yeah, I do.
Looking and when Codemasters does a good racing game, they do a very good racing game. And looking at this trailer, this looks like a very good racing game.
Yes.
I actually am relatively excited about this. And as racing game goes, I think, you know, the off-road racing with the jumps and the, you know, I think it's actually a very exciting part of the racing game genre to do the more off-road kind of stuff. I personally, when I play racing games, I enjoy those more. I'm excited about this. This looks like a solid entry into the racing game world. I would sit and play this.
Yeah,
I agree. It looks really good. A lot of fun. Really good action. I prefer the off-road. The whole, well, it's called Dirt. You know, Dirt. So you know, I like that. The feel, you get a really good feel of it. The weather looks really good. It for a racing game, it looks top notch, I think.
And you, Dave, who's in the UK, what can you tell us about Codemasters? Because Codemasters in the UK, right? I think they're a British studio.
They are, yeah. They're up north, I think. Yeah, they've been around.
I would bet, however,
always.
most of these models were made in Malaysia.
Probably, yeah.
Are you serious?
No, Codemasters has a huge office in Kuala Lumpur. And
Seriously?
actually, yeah, they're one of the largest employers of Malaysian game developers. It's a very solid company in Malaysia, and they do a lot of the modeling for their racing games. So I would bet a lot of these models were actually made in Malaysia.
The other racing game that's coming out this year, which is super anticipated, is Project Cars 2, and that's kind of new in the series. And they're coming as like a worthy competitor, in my opinion, to the stuff that Codemaster does. Because they're bringing simulation to the next level. I thoroughly enjoyed Project Cars the way I hadn't enjoyed the racing game since Gran Turismo came out on PlayStation or something like that. So, but yeah, Dirt 4 looks solid. I'm gonna move on to number 2 before we get to number 1. And number 2 technically is not a game; it's a DLC. It's the DLC for Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood. It's coming out. I'm not sure exactly when.
June 20th.
June 20th.
It's going to be $40 for DLC. You
Yes.
got to have the original game, obviously.
Go ahead.
So this one has new adventures in Alamingo and Doma. You get to play as 2 new jobs, Red Mage and Samurai. There's new exploration that includes swimming and diving. Your level cap can increase from 60 to 70. There are changes in the battle system. So if you like the battle system before, get ready. There's also Journey to the Far Eastern City of Kugane. Explore the Girabani and the Ruby Sea. Lots of places to go. There are new primals and beastmans, new dungeons. I mean, this DLC is packed with exciting things for you. This comes from Square Enix, so you know it's going to be good. Who wants to check this out first. I mean, have either any of you guys know this game? Familiar with it? Excited about these new levels?
I love Final Fantasy, but not the MMO kind of sides of it. I know they did 11 and 14. I have tried 14. I mean, I think it looks very nice for an MMO. And, typically MMOs don't look that great because of the amount of characters have to draw and and obviously all that kind of stuff. So I think it looks quite good, but it's not really my thing. I love I love Japanese games. Big Nintendo fan, big From Software fan, and Square Enix big fan. I love their RPGs. But the MMOs aren't really my thing. But this looks really good. I mean, I don't know if we actually get to see. Do we get to see gameplay on this? Or is it just this?
I'm not sure.
In
I think
just
that's
the trailer.
Yeah, I think that's just a trailer, but just the cutscenes. So I don't think we're going to show you that. But having said this, Final Fantasy XIV does have great graphics. For an
it was
MMO.
good for an MMO.
It
I
looks
think
absolutely
they
great.
did a great job as well. Because initially, when it came out, it was really panned. Everybody hated it. It was just a big grind. Obviously the kind of those kind of MMOs tend to be just grind fest, but in the West we kind of like quests and things and maybe a bit of a story. But they, when they did a Realm Reborn, they did a good thing. I mean, it's kind of the only time a game's come out been terrible and been taken away, really worked on really hard, come back, and then been, pretty good. And so, a lot of people said it was great. So it had gone from terrible reviews to really strong reviews. So I think that's one of the best turnarounds I've ever seen. Normally a bad game, and fair play to Square Enix for actually taking the care for the fans and actually fixing it rather than just dumping it.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm a huge MMO fan myself. I mean, there's I think there's 7-8 years of gaming that I completely zoned out of because of Warcraft. And just
same.
So many people told me, you have never played The Witcher? What? You've never played Fallout? Yeah. Well, guys, that was the days where all I did was play Warcraft. World of Warcraft, the MMO, and this is the only. And so I tried Final Fantasy XIV. This is the only MMO that has been able, for extended period of time, to compete against Warcraft in terms of numbers of players playing at the same time simultaneously, and I tried it myself. I didn't latch on. I didn't catch. I don't know why that is, but it's not a game that really was it. And I've come to the conclusion myself, and I don't know if I'm completely wrong, but I feel like I'm playing an Asian game when I'm playing Final Fantasy XIV, whereas when I'm playing Warcraft, I feel like I'm playing an American game. And I'm not saying anything bad about the Asian component of Final Fantasy XIV, but it felt foreign to me in its action, in its combat, and it wasn't, as I couldn't so easily adapt myself and kind of say, okay, I'm done with Warcraft now. FF14 is my MMO. I don't play Warcraft anymore, but I don't know. Can you guys relate to that at any level?
I'm just scared
actually,
that America's gotten to you, Fred, and you now hate foreigners.
Maybe.
I'm a little bit concerned.
Maybe. I don't know.
I played it and it felt foreign. You need to build a wall, Fred. Make the wall happen.
I'm obviously
gaming great again.
I don't think I represent anyone here because it's a huge hit in the US, right? It's a huge hit in Europe. So I'm not speaking for the community as a whole. I'm speaking as an individual. I couldn't really latch on to it, but Anton seems to be feeling the same way as I do.
Yeah, actually, because I also wasted lots of years on World of Warcraft, and I also tried getting into other MMOs. Some were more successful than others, some were less successful, and this kind of Asian touch to MMOs, you feel them as soon as you start the game. It's just the way they approach the way they approach the combat, the upgrades, the character progression, just everything is different. Even the world building is different. Yeah. Western MMOs tend to go with level design that is more detailed on the amount of stuff in the world. Asian MMOs go all out on the character detail and textures, and then you have completely barren ground. Thankfully, Final Fantasy is better at that because it has a gorgeous world, but I just couldn't get into the gameplay. Basically, Final Fantasy is a Final Fantasy game, story game, with online component to it. It felt like a grind fest to the max level, which they did not improve on much When I was back when I was playing, and they still haven't improved on it up till this expansion. What I've heard, I haven't checked out the last few months because it just didn't resonate with me. The gameplay felt much more slow-paced. It was quest, not much the fun online action you play the MMOs for. This kind of like massive multiplayer was simply missing in Final Fantasy when it comes to that aspect. No epic battlegrounds, no epic clashes. It just felt like online Final Fantasy with some other players running alongside with him. And A Realm Reborn was a great change to some of the stuff that felt very foreign. I think they had like chat on space when the game first released, and it was like, wait, why can't I jump? Why am I typing in chat when I'm trying to jump? What is happening? So they tried to make the game more Western, which you got to give them credit for. But I don't know, it still just doesn't quite get into the same niche as other Western MMOs does. But many games do, like Black Desert Online. They successfully penetrated the Western market. Aeon Online was kind of like hit and miss, but still it became a decent Western game. And Terra Online, also okay-ish game. There's still lots of that grinding and upgrades, and like that chance rolls that you have to purchase crystals doing. Oh god, I hate it so much in all the MMOs, but it's there.
I thought the combat in Terra was very well done.
Yeah, it was alright. It was enjoyable, and it was fresh take on just combat in MMOs in general, which you usually go for target-based, and you have that in Final Fantasy as well, so...
I will say that this trailer is a better trailer for Tekken than the Tekken trailer.
Oh, yeah.
This trailer is amazing. Like, this trailer's budget is bigger than half of the games we're looking at today.
It is. Oh, yeah.
It's an amazing trailer.
I'd say a single scene in that trailer is...
Yeah.
Seriously.
It's like you're watching a movie.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really convey the MMO feeling. Like, I'm not watching MMO here. I'm watching, as I said, a Tekken trailer. Where is all the epic fights? Where is the online stuff? Where is the competition? Like, this is not a trailer for an
But
MMO.
that's on us, that's on us not showing you gameplay footage when we should.
But I mean, that's kind of the point of the trailer, is they're supposed to tell me what's happening. And like you say, I when I watched this trailer, if you did not tell me this was an MMO, I would not know that it was an MMO. I would have no clue that I was watching a trailer for an MMO.
Yeah, but I mean, AAA studios, they do that. They do, here's the gameplay trailer. Here's the
It doesn't make it good.
trailer.
It just means what AAA studios do. It sucks. They should stop doing that.
World of Warcraft does much better job at their trailers.
Yeah.
Actually, it's massive. Those battleships flying in, armies assembling. Their most recent trailers, you get that. Okay, that's an epic online game. You don't get the same feeling from this trailer.
I think Blizzard...
World of Tanks does a better trailer that lets me know that it's an MMO, right?
And World of Tanks is a good game.
Yeah, it's a good game, but I mean, come on. Look at when you watch a World of Tanks trailer or a World of Ships trailer, you know what you're getting. You look at it and you're like, look, I get to drive that ship and I get to shoot those other ships. That's what I get to do. In this, I get to watch videos, apparently.
I mean, I think they're trying to ride on the lore, and in a way they're being smart about it, because, and it's funny because Blizzard I think Blizzard went through the opposite direction, where they went like, we have too much gameplay, we need to start like plugging in cutscenes into like better animated cutscenes into our expansions and into the stuff we do. We need to bring the lore in an animated and visual way. I mean, I think Mist of Pandaria as an expansion did just that, and then from Mist of Pandaria they really took the lore to like visual effect a lot more. But still, Blizzard is being so focused on gameplays, they're always going to show you gameplay in their trailer. It's kind of and Final Fantasy is trying to ride that same wave of, we have a whole fantasy universe with all those different storylines, and our MMO is like 10 to 20 to 30 years type of story that we're going to feed you bit by bit if we continue to be successful. So I think, it's in Square's interest, and Square is good at telling stories as well, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think another aspect is basically we simply know the target market for this trailer. This is aiming for the fans who already have the game and who will be excited to see the new locations and new classes. This is not to get new players. So
I would like to just touch on the thing that nobody talked about, which is like the big new feature is underwater and swimming. And just for the record,
who the fuck wants that?
A,
Pardon
it's
my
not
French.
in the trailer, and B, Who's excited about underwater and swimming?
Yeah,
When have you
it's
ever
the worst.
wanted that in any game?
If you told me fishing,
There you go. Yeah.
I was fishing.
Yeah, the thing is,
I was like,
you know,
shit, I gotta swim. I hate swimming.
No, that's actually a cool thing. I mean, you have underwater exploration that adds a new dimension
No.
to the game.
no,
Yeah,
Anton,
every time
on
they've
this
added
one,
that to
Anton,
any game in the history of games.
And
it
yeah,
sucks.
Anton, I have to side with Chris on this one. As much as I'm more with you on the pixel art and all that, on underwater swimming, no gamer I've ever come across says, yeah, underwater swimming.
I stumbled
The
in
entire
swimming.
history of me playing video games, I cannot think of a single game other than that Echo the Dolphin game
Yeah,
where
the
I
great
thought
game.
to myself,
Great game.
yeah, the underwater part was the good part. That
Oh, I liked
doesn't-
it in Banjo-Kazooie. But
I think Guild
Totally
Wars
different
kind
game.
of did it okay, actually. They actually managed to make underwater exploration fun in Guild Wars. You got completely new set of skills. It's completely different mechanic to it. It's alright compared to World of Warcraft.
They did it better. No,
I didn't
he's
li-
right.
I played
In
Guild
Guild-
Wars. I didn't like the underwater in Guild Wars.
No,
I remember
it
every
has a
time I got
certain
an underwater
flow.
mission, I thought, oh shit, I got to get in the water again. That
I,
just
thi-
sucked.
I think the characters move fast enough underwater in Guild Wars that it's not. I agree. In Guild Wars they did it pretty well, but still, like, you know, we want mounts. We don't want to be slowed down by water. We want to. We want
Yeah.
to be. We want more
So
speed.
dolphins, basically, right?
Yeah.
I mean, basically, a
Anton is
water.
so upset with
water
us.
play in the water
He's
in
never
game
coming
is
back
like,
on the show.
Okay, we're gonna make
Hey,
you
there
move
is underwater,
slower,
it's a
and we're gonna
trailer.
attack
Look at
you
it.
from the top. Why is that cool? Right? It's. I don't. That's
Grand finale. Grand finale, and a game that I think is very highly anticipated. Came out today. Actually, yeah, we just got the review copy today. So, our review coming up in 3 days. Ariana, I won't break the spell. You go ahead.
that's okay. We are here at the finale of the Bandai Namco Studios big game, Tekken 7. All right, so everybody knows Tekken. You've heard of it for ages. It's a great fighting game. This is the epic conclusion to the Mishima clan and unravel the reasons behind each step of their ceaseless fight. This is a story. It has love, revenge, pride. Everyone has a reason to fight, including you. So get your butt in game and come check it out. There is a season pass that is sold separately that gets you
Of course.
additional access to stunning content. It did come out today for $50.
And it's developed by Bandai Namco. If you don't know Bandai Namco, I don't know what's wrong with you. An arcade, mobile, and home video game publisher based in Japan. The company also publishes video, music, and other entertainment products related to its video game IPs. It's the product of a merger between the video game development divisions of Bandai and Namco. In addition to its core publisher operations in Japan, Bandai Namco Games publishers content worldwide through different entities. The company has its headquarters in Shingawa, Tokyo. Tekken.
Can I just ask? Did I hear that correctly? That I'm gonna pay $50 for this game, and then if I want all the content, I have to buy a season pass and actually have a subscription?
I think yes, sir. I think that's
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck you hard,
Yeah.
and don't do that. I mean,
It's the
No,
last
Chris,
game
tell
they
us how you
wanted-
really feel.
no, seriously, if I drop $50 on a game, don't you dare make me buy a subscription to get the content. Seriously, stop that. Just stop that. You make game developers look bad. Stop it.
But there's still something positive to be said about Tekken. Tekken, and I think we've had this conversation on a previous show when we were looking at a Marvel game. Shane, you might have even been on that show. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I think you were. We said that, you know, Tekken has a lot of merit in the fighting space because it's not, you know, it's not so. It's a game that's approachable by everyone, and at the same time, it's just as competitive as other fighting games, and that's kind of where the beauty of Tekken is. And I've spent countless hours myself on Tekken Tag. I think when I was in college, fantastic game. Again, it's the month of couch co-ops really, because this fight I myself don't really understand fighting games online. I know that for Street Fighter and all that, it's huge. I don't know if it's as big for a game like Tekken, and even Mortal Kombat to some extent. But Tekken has its own identity in this space, and it's kind of I've always thought it interesting to kind of figure out, you know, what defines it, what defines its identity, what makes it Tekken, outside of just the characters and the lore that it's a fighting game we don't really give two shites about. right? I mean,
I don't disagree with anything you just said. Tekken is a great game. It's a great franchise. I've played a lot of Tekken.
Yeah.
I love Tekken. I love the characters. Watching this video, I could give a crap. They're like, look at all this story. Look at all these reasons you have to fight. I don't need a reason to fight. It's a fighting game. Give
It's
me
Tekken,
a
right,
list
exactly.
of characters and let me fight.
Wow.
It seems weird that they spend all this time and energy like building on the, putting these hubcaps on the tractor. I don't know why I need all of that. I just
and
need
in a
list
way,
of
I feel like
characters and
I feel like Tekken would have been better served with a more subtle, kind of toned down approach to the release. Just because it's Tekken, you don't need to hype it up with cutscenes and additional trailers and PR releases every couple of days. And we've had a ton of PR releases on Tekken. I feel like a
but
little
all
bit
that
more of
being
a.
said, nothing is going to get past the fact that a major AAA developer is going to charge me $50 for a game and then say, by the way, if you want all the content, you have to pay for a subscription. Seriously, I won't play this game.
Do you
I
guys
flat
react
out
that?
will not give them my money. Period.
Dave,
I actually disagree with Chris on this approach because it depends entirely on what kind of content we are talking about. Is it the kind of content that would be normally part of the game, or is it part of just extra content like expansions? Because that's completely normal. Yeah, you charge for building a Pony game. If you sell a good game that is complete for $50 and then you charge money for additional content that comes afterwards that you develop as it comes, that's completely fine. The problem is when people just sometimes cut out the chunks of the game that is you should expect it to be part of the original release and then sell it to you with a season pass or whatever extra bullshit reasons they can come up with.
Let me clarify though. It's the season pass part of it that bothers me, right? If they said we're going to have additional content later and you can download that as a one-time pay DLC, I wouldn't be so bothered, right? But the idea that you're going to make me pay into a non-MMO game, a non-online game, you're going to make me pay into some kind of subscription service. Come on, stop that. That's just
So
abuse. Stop that.
there's a bunch of
just say one by one.
Yeah, like there's a bunch of different ways to look at it. Like I'm a big Street Fighter guy, and I really follow the fighting game community a lot. I watch a lot of the tournaments online and things like that. And Street Fighter V has done the same thing, where they do the seasons pass, and I'm paying for it, and I don't mind paying for it at all. A big thing to keep in mind is
You're a part of the problem.
I am part of the problem. We've already agreed on that one.
You're enabling.
But so picture the competitive fighting game community, the people that are competing online, want to go to tournaments, want to go to EVO, things like that. As the season goes on, there's patches, there's updates, there's new characters that come out, and that changes the metagame. It changes what's competitive. It changes what's trendy. And within the community, you were just talking about all the PR and stuff. That's who all the PR is made for. It's meant for the fighting game community. It's not meant for the press as a whole. Some of them will pick it up, but it's really meant for the people who really love fighting games to get excited about and talk about because, there's 4 or 5 really big fighting game franchises. Injustice 2 just came out, and everyone's talking about that, and Tekken 7's coming up, and everyone's talking about Tekken 7. So if you're watching the Street Fighter stream, and something really cool came out for Tekken 7 that day, the commentators are going to talk about it while they're talking about Street Fighter. And that's free marketing within your dedicated community. So that's why they're doing all the PR. That's also why they're doing the Seasons Pass. And it's kind of like it's buy all the DLC for the year up front, or you can subscribe afterwards and you still get it all at the end of the year. But it's not a subscription fee in as much as it's like a 1-year season pass, literally.
It's basically pre-order for all the DLC that will be coming.
Exactly.
And the question is like,
That's what it is. Yeah.
Target
But
is a hardcore community, not casual fighting game players who just want to have a couple beers and mash some buttons with their friends.
That makes sense, especially what they're offering, which is special characters and hundreds of exclusive costumes, which 30 of them are metallic. So those players in that arena want to stand out. They want to make their character. They live this game. So basically that's what they're paying for, is their life in this game with their characters.
Yeah, I can't emphasize enough how important it is that when I have my friends over to play Street Fighter, that I have all the costumes. If the host of the fighting game night
I want to
does
be
not
your
have all the
friend.
costumes, it's like, people are like, really? You don't have the Cammy Bunny costume?
What is wrong with you?
Yeah, and so...
So you got to give them a fashion show while you're at it, huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Dave,
part of setting up fashion buttons.
Dave, I'll let you close the show with your closing comments on Tekken.
Yeah, just picking up on what Chris was saying about the DLCs, I kind of, DLC is important, and I must admit, I play Overwatch at the moment, and whenever new skins come out for that, I'm the sad one that buys the 50 loot boxes, and sits there opening each one, and did I get everything? I didn't get that skin, and then I'll buy another 50 loot boxes. So I can't, I feel a bit bad moaning about it, but I think if a game comes out, like when I buy say Dark Souls 3, I know I bought you could pay for the DLCs early, but they didn't come out for a long time, and that tells me it's not a part of the game that they've kind of held back. They're making that stuff, and it takes some time.
Yes.
They put all the effort in. When something comes out and the DLCs kind of out the next week, or available in a month's
Then
time,
it's dubious.
you think, well, they couldn't have made that in that time. That could have been part of the game,
Yeah.
and they've taken part of it out, and they're charging me for it. So that kind of annoys me.
Yeah.
Season passes
It's
I
fine.
don't have a problem with, as long as there's a massive gap before
Right.
you start getting it, so you know that it's actually genuine stuff that you're paying for.
As long as
rather
it means
than-
you're paying for the studio to stay involved in the game, to stay
Yeah.
committed to the
Yeah.
game, I completely agree with you on
that I
that.
don't have a problem with, and I'm willing to pay it.
Yeah.
If I
gotta
love a
jump
game.
in
Yeah.
and say one thing though. I mean, we started today's show with I forgot the name that
I have to
Crimson
scroll
Lake
all the
clone.
way back up.
I know. Anyway,
Tormentor X or something.
Tormentor
yeah,
X.
the world on Steam
Yeah.
literally has 10 or 15 good games. I'm not talking the shovelware. I'm talking good, solid, playable games that are going to come out at like a $5 to $10 price point every week, right? Solid, fun, interesting games. And for a AAA publisher to come out and say, you know what, our game's $50, right? At that point, you've said, I'm going to not play 10 other games, 5 or 10 other games, because I'm choosing to play this game. And to come in after that and start saying, and now we need you to buy a season pass and a subscription and all this other stuff. I don't know. For me, as a gamer, I go back to Steam and I say my enjoyment per dollar value sort of maximizes right now in the gaming world at stuff that I can go get on Steam between $10 and $20.
I just don't think we feel like that. I think in many ways we're ships of the system, in that we're gonna buy the biggest stuff, the hottest stuff, just because that's the marketing works. At the end of the day, you hype Tekken 7 for a year, we're gonna buy it. You hype Mass Effect
and you too
Andromeda.
are part of the problem.
Yeah,
right?
but I
You're
think
an enabler. You're
But
part
I
of the
think
problem.
I'm a huge AAA fan, and I won't deny it. And I'm the first one to say that I think the AAA scene is nowhere in the state that the mainstream cinema scene is. I think the AAA scene is still very creative and very talented, and the stuff that comes out, it's exhilarating to gamers. I think Tekken is exhilarating. But Chris, come on, like, for the right reasons, these games they're fun. They're a lot of fun.
No, for the right game, I'm willing to throw down $50. But you look at a guy in the States who's working, like, he works at the Olive Garden, or he works at Walmart or something
Sure.
like that.
Yeah, it comes at a cost.
$50 is like all that dude can save for a month, right? That's I
Yes.
mean, you're talking about people with student loans
Sure.
and insurance payments and all that. The majority of America, $50 that's a lot of money,
It's a big
right?
deal.
And to say, all right, well, this $50 plus, another, $15 every month or so, this stuff adds
taxing,
up. And
you're
really,
taxing.
It pulls down how much, your average American gamer has got a gaming budget of something like $50, $60 a month. And so, you're
And
saying,
yet, as
all
a
right,
community, we
I
have the
claim that.
nerves. As a community, we have the nerves to tear apart G2A, which is bringing the prices down of gaming. It's true.
Good point.
I want to come in on that really quick, because I think AAA has changed from a paid and done industry, and I think the AAA is very much a service industry now. So if you look at most AAA games, they're not making a game that you play and you're done with. They're making a game that becomes your lifestyle game. So for the last 5 years, my lifestyle game has been Street Fighter 4. And I've put more hours into that than all of the other games combined, probably times 5.
And you're thankful for it.
I am very thankful for it.
Yeah.
But that's who everyone wants to be. You guys, I don't know if you watched the Destiny's announcement stream, but Destiny wants to be that game. Overwatch is that game to millions of people.
Yeah.
That's what
We're
the
looking
MMOs
for that
did.
games where we don't plug in 50 hours, but not 100 hours, but thousands and thousands of hours. That's what
Do you
we
guys
keep
think this game is
hunting.
it?
And that's what they want Tekken
No.
7 to be.
But
They
I
want
mean,
that.
like, but every
The
I
only thing I'd
think
say about that is with Overwatch, it's
Yeah.
a one-off fee. You get new maps, new characters, new skins. I mean, I'm the fool that buys the loot boxes because I've got to have that skin now. You know, I don't want to wait until it comes in a loot box. I want it right now. But you don't have to. And for the lifetime of that game, you will pay nothing more. There will be, you know, with Call of Duty comes out and there's loads of map packs, and you know that all works. But I like Blizzard's angle on here's the game, and we're going to add more stuff to it. We're going to support it. When you look at Diablo 2, I mean, before Diablo 3 came out,
yes.
there were still servers running. Even when they announced Diablo 3, I reinstalled Diablo 2. Well, to buy it again, but I
But they
installed
don't,
it, and immediately I got the sellers on there trying to sell me weapons, and I thought,
I wish
wow,
they gave
people are still selling this stuff. Like, and it's like 10 years later, and they're still supporting it. You know,
There's a reason everybody loves Blizzard, and the reason everybody loves Blizzard is your dollar per value entertainment
Is higher.
there is higher than anywhere else I know.
Yeah.
And they're a very customer focused company, and they're very cognizant of playing the long game and not saying, how do we just bang this guy for a bunch of money right now?
Yeah.
How do
Yeah.
we get this guy to be?
Because Hearthstone doesn't do that at all.
No.
Dude.
but Hearthstone sucks you in, though. You know.
Yeah, you know what? I probably put about $500 into Hearthstone,
Yeah.
and I
Probably
regret
have a much
none of
bigger
it.
boat.
I regret
Yeah.
zero of it.
And that's the point, right? Is we're still trying to figure out how to make money in AAA games, right?
Yeah.
So whether it's Seasons Pass or it's free to play with booster packs or it's a pay one fee and then unlock loot boxes or buy skins, you know, everyone's trying different things. Valve's doing different things. Blizzard's doing different things. Riot's doing different things. Everyone's trying to figure out how to make the most money off lifestyle products. But the original question was, like, why is Tekken 7 doing the Seasons Pass thing? It's because they want to become a lifestyle product for a certain number of people in their
For
audience.
fighters.
They're not coming at it as Tekken 1, which was like, this is the game you're going to play for a month and put on your shelf and never
It's so
play again.
true. So true. Yeah.
I see your point. I see your
Yeah,
point.
that's my point. Is it the right way or the wrong way?
We'll
I'm
see.
not making a quality discussion on it, but I'm just saying that's why they're doing it, and that's what everybody in AAA is trying to do now. Is trying to
And
do
if
that.
it's their last title in the game, they probably want to get what they can out of it.
Yeah, like there's people I know that have been playing Breath of the Wild since it came out, and they're still playing it, even though they found everything. They're just walking around and looking at stuff, you know. What do you do is playing Breath of the Wild. It's like you
To
found
go
everything.
back to my original disagreement, though, I put a lot of money into Hearthstone, but I sure as hell didn't spend $50 the day I bought Hearthstone. Right,
No,
the day
it
I
took
started
time. It
playing
took time.
Hearthstone.
Took time.
Nobody came to me and said, if you want to even touch this, you got to give me $50.
It's so true.
And then immediately said, start giving me more money. That's
Yeah.
the part that I'm like, dude,
Right.
come
No,
on.
I totally agree. Like
Fair
I
enough.
totally come
I'm
from.
gonna let,
I think actually Morit's question is why is they doing it. I mean, yeah, sure, as a gamer you can dislike the practice all you want, but the question is still like, are they doing it just to milk money, or as Shane says, are they doing it to build some kind of longevity product, or are they simply doing it because they have to recoup a bigger investment that becomes larger and larger into AAA games with every year? You can bash the prices and DLCs all you want, but in the end they still have to meet their quotas, recouping the budgets they invested in the game. I don't want to play $100 for Tekken. I much rather pay a lower entry fee and ignore the costumes that they try to, sell to all other people. And that's an option that you have. Of course, another option is to pay, much higher entry price as well. So it's important sometimes to raise the question of why the games are doing that. And as Shane says, they're still trying to figure out the payment model, what is the best, because games were much more expensive in the past. They're getting cheaper and cheaper. $50 is cheap if you compare it to how much a console game cost, say 20 years ago or 30 years ago. It's still much lower barrier to entry. But the budget keeps growing and they have to recoup that. So yeah, you get DLCs, you get shitty skins that many don't care about, but many love it. And if the game can recoup their investment through the skins that I can ignore, but that gets me a lower entry price, sorry, I'm all in for it.
Yes.
I will argue that is a very good case.
Yes.
You've made a very good case for your argument.
And
Well said.
on this peaceful conclusion, on this peaceful resolution between the four developers whom we thank for coming on the show, I'm going to close the show. I'd like to thank everybody, including Ariana and the writing department and everybody who's put this event together. Thanks to the OPN crew for keeping us alive on a daily basis. We have 2 exciting interviews coming up this Sunday on Twitch. We're going to talk with Zeno, the PR manager for Little Green Man Games, about the new release Starpoint Gemini Warlords, a big game that stayed in early access for quite a while and gets a lot of attention, a great sci-fi 4X, simulation action, you name it. Zeno, we've known him for years. He's a great guy. Looking forward to it Sunday at 2:45 p.m. US Eastern Time. And that's followed by a dev talk with a game I'm so excited to talk to the developers about. It's called Black the Fall. I don't know if you guys heard about it. I forget the exact name of the studio. Even Volori could remind me, but it's published by Square Enix itself. So it's got a great backing, and it's a game, I think, from Eastern Europe, Black the Fall. Check it out on Steam. It looks very, very impressive, and we're going to be talking to them on Sunday afternoon. Oriana, thanks again for co-hosting the show. Chris, thanks for co-hosting.
Thank you.
Dave, Anton, Shane, we hope to see you guys next time. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show, Shane, as well. And Dave and Anton, we're so glad to make your acquaintance, and we hope you will stay friends of OpNoobs and come back every now and then as we continue to harass you with invites. Thanks to the Twitch audience, and guys, go to sleep. Chris, have a great day. Thanks again for a great show. Sorry we kept you a little bit longer, but we'll see you guys next time. This is OpNoobs, Twitch TV/OpNoobs Online. See you guys later.